class, we already gained the knowledge about the weather, climate. Now, the next chapter that we have to deal, we know that in our surrounding what is present? Air. Air is what? Colorless, tasteless and odorless. We cannot see air, we can feel air. So, the earth is surrounded by the cover of the air that is called atmosphere. I am repeating again, the earth is surrounded by the cover of air that is called atmosphere. And the moving air is called what? The moving air is called wind. The moving air is called wind. So wind, moving air is called wind. So atmosphere, the cover of the air surrounding the earth is called atmosphere. The main layer of the atmosphere is what? That you learn in the geography. That is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere and the thermosphere. These are the layers of the atmosphere. What is that? Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere and the thermosphere. So that in this chapter we have to learn some of the concept of the related with the wind, storms and the cyclone. So before going to the deep in the topic, let's understand some of the terms that and properties of the air. The first property of the air is what? Air exert a pressure. Air exert a pressure. So the pressure that is exerted by the air at any point on air on the earth is called what? It is called atmospheric pressure. The pressure that is exerted by the air at any point is called what? It is called atmospheric pressure. It is called atmospheric pressure. So that is about the atmospheric pressure. If you take a funnel and see that the funnel and the rubber, this is covered with a rubber and below that it is a what? It is the tube, that is a rubber tube is there. When there is an equal pressure from the up and down, then what is happening? That both from the up also and from the bottom also, the funnel that is equal pressure is there. So there is no change in the rubber over the funnel. But if the air is released from the bottom of the funnel, then what happens? The pressure is more on the up and then air exerts the pressure and the rubber sheet comes down. So this shows that what? Air exerts the pressure. Air exerts the pressure. When we take a hot glass or hot bottle, that is a bottle, and put the hot water in it, then what happens? It get compressed. It get compressed. The shape of the bottle is get changed. So that shows what? Air exerts the pressure. Air exerts the pressure. Now the next thing, that whenever you drink the soft drink with the help of the straw, so liquid rises into the straw due to the what? Due to the partial vacuum created inside the straw due to the sucking. So liquid rises into the straw because of the pressure of the air and inside the outside the straw. So this is the first thing, that air exerts pressure. The first property of the air is what? Air exerts pressure. When the air exerts the pressure, what happens? It creates wind. What it creates? It creates wind. The first property of the air, that is air exert pressure, due to that what is happening? It creates the wind. Then there is a change in the weather. So due to the pressure, atmospheric pressure, that we can see what is happening. The wind is creating and changing the weather. Whenever you heard the forecasting of the in the news channel of the weather, that it is said that there is a low pressure, that is a high pressure. Due to the low pressure, the weather is this, and due to the high pressure, the weather is this. So what is that? That air exerts the pressure, and that changes in the brings the changes in the weather. Now, high speed wind. Whenever the high speed wind is there, then it is always accompanied to reduce air pressure. It is always accompanied to reduce the air pressure. So when the high speed wind causes what? The high speed wind causes the low pressure. That results the what? Low pressure. So up to here everybody understood the first property. On the basis of the first property, what is the first property that I explained about the air? Air exerts pressure. And what is the result of that? Due to the pressure in the air, air exerts the pressure, what is happening? It creates the wind and it creates the change in the weather. And high speed wind always causes the what? Low pressure. Now there is a movement that is a blowing and the moving air, that is called wind. That is already understood. What do you mean by the wind? That moving and blowing air is called wind. And the speed of the wind is varying from 5 to 10 km per hour. Gentle breeze. The gentle breeze, the speed of that is a 5 to 10 km. But the high speed wind, that is for example tornado, that is 700 to 800 km per hour. 700 to 800 km per hour. So this is about the speed of the wind. The speed and the direction of the wind, the speed and the direction of the wind is affected by what? It is affected by the four factors: location, rotation of the earth, height from the ground, and local condition. The speed of the wind is affected by the four factors. What are that four factors? That is location, rotation, height from the ground, and the local condition. These four factors affect the speed of the wind. And air always moves from high pressure to low pressure. Air always moves from high pressure to low pressure. Air moves from high pressure to low pressure. When you blow the air in the balloon, okay, and hold it, then inside the balloon there is a high pressure is there. And when you take it out your finger from the opening, then what will happen? The air is moves out and that create the low pressure. So the air is always moved from the high pressure to the low pressure. Air moves from the high pressure to the low pressure region. High pressure to the low pressure region. Understood up to here? What I told, there are various factors that affect the speed of the wind. The speed of the wind. And what is the speed of the wind? General breeze contain what? Cannot contain what is the general breeze speed? That is 5 to 10 km per hour. But the speed of the tornado and the other, that is the speed of the tornado is what? It is about the 700 to 800 km. So you just now I gave the example of the speed of the two wind, general wind and the speed of the tornado. So the speed of the wind is affected. The factors that has affected the wind, speed of the wind are four. What is that? Location of a particular place in the earth, then rotation of the earth, then height from the ground, and the local condition. So this affect the wind speed. Now air always moves from what? Air always moves from the high pressure to the low pressure. It always moves from the high pressure to the low pressure. If you blow the air in the balloon, then inside the balloon there is a high pressure is there. And when you leave the opening of the balloon, then what happens? The air is moves out and it moves to the certain, that is in that inside that low pressure is there. So air moves from what? A high pressure to the low pressure. Understood? So that is about the wind speed. Now the second property, that air expands on heating. Air expands on heating. Air expands on heating. When you take a bottle and fill it water and put the balloon over it, but when you take this inside a bottle, this is the cold. And when you take a bottle with the hot water and the balloon is kept, then what happens? The balloon is filled with the air. The balloon is filled with the air. We found that air, that is because of why the air expand on heating? Whatever the air is there inside the bottle, it is what? It is expanding, and due to that the air is filled in the balloon. Air is filled in the balloon. So air expands on heating. Air expands on heating. Okay, understood? The second property, that is the air expands on the heating. And this factors also affect the weather, that makes storms and cyclones. That is another topic. Now, when that you already know that warm air is always lighter than the cold air. Warm air is lighter than the cold air. So, due to the expansion, that is the heating is occurred, and due to the heat, the air moves what? The hot air moves up, and hot air moves up and it occupies the balloon, and the balloon get filled with the air. So this is about the today's concept, all about the air. So I think everybody understood. First we start with about air exert the pressure. Second we learned about the wind, the speed of the wind, what are the factors. Then we learned about the air always moves from the high pressure to the low pressure. Then we learned about the air expands on heating. And the next and the last concept in this class, we learned that warm air is always lighter than the cold air. For today, it's